Well, hello there. Today we're talking about the TAO way. I'm going to start by a famous quote by Aristotle. Eudaimonia is called the good life. How do you achieve it? He said that the good life is hard to find because it is situated in the middle. Begins with health. Let's start. First, I'm going to be beginning with simple questions that are going to take you by the hand and present you the TAO way principle, because it's very hard. So let's start. First, do you think eating is healthy for you? Yes, of course. But do you think eating a lot and overeating is good for your health? No, it's not, because when you overeat, you lose a lot of energy dealing with your body swinging on the other side and having a reaction of the overeating. And the end result is you not being the best version of yourself. What about starving yourself? This results in energy loss too, but when you go about your day and you starve yourself, you can't think about anything unless food, because you didn't have enough. So those are the two extremes, the overeating and starving yourself. Let's start with two more questions. Do you like hot weather? What about 2000 degrees? You would burn to death. What about cold weather? The absolute zero will make your body stiff and you die from cold. Okay, I'm going to ask some questions for you now. So, the questions are: how do you feel after eating a meal? Do you feel energized? Do you feel full and ready to hit that day as hard as you can? Or are you so lazy that you can't get off your chair? What do you think? Write this down now. I'm going to continue with a relationships example. I know it's a sketchy thing. So, when you are in a relationship, you start becoming so close to each other. Picture yourself becoming so close to each other that you eat at the same time. Eat together, sleep together, go to movies together, go to work together. You're so much together that you basically become the same person. What about the other side? You being so much independent that you live in separate houses, go out separate with your friends, and eat separately, sleep separately, and so on and so forth. So, this results in the two extremes I'm talking about. You have to find the middle in that. Let's continue in another section. So, we were talking about the extremes, but what is the TAO? It is situated in the middle. You can find it between the extremes. What is between those extremes? The TAO. But basically, it's in the bigger picture all these balance points in your business, in your health, in your relationships, and so on, all these balance points aligned are the TAO way. I'm going to ask you what are the extremes in your life. Write them down and figure out a way how to find yourself in the middle and go back on your path. Because when you go into an extreme, for example, if you're a chain smoker, you smoke cigarette one after another, and that doesn't leave you any energy. It depletes you from time, because you light so much cigarettes, then you go on your day and find places to smoke and buy cigarettes, and all those things deplete you from energy and from time. But if you find someone who is a chain smoker and he devoted his life, devoted a year to changing his life, to get back into the Tao, get back from that extreme, he has to work a year or 2 years even, because it is so out of the Tao, so swinged to the extreme, that he or she has to be taking therapy, patches, gums, in order to stop the smoking cigarettes. And what do you think? When he or she stopped smoking, what about the time and the energy they were giving to smoking? When they give it up, they have so much energy and time now to make their life in their design and make that change happen. So again, I'm going to ask you, what are the extremes in your life that you think are depleting you from energy and are holding you back to have the best life possible? I'm gonna start with the extremes, how they controlled my life, how they were like weights on my shoulders and I couldn't achieve the success I wanted in my life. Let's start with health related things. Like in my diet, when I started eating, I overate too much. When I overate, the laziness captured me. I couldn't take my life and couldn't take myself to do the things I had to do on my list, on my schedule. And as I said, laziness was like a monster that I had to fight every time. Not that it hasn't I don't fight with it anymore, but it's easier now because I try to find the middle. And when I don't overeat, now that I have changed, I have so much energy that I get up from my from the table and do the things like a boss. What about in happiness? My happiness was too shaky because when I started applying self-help materials and techniques or tactics, I overdid it. I didn't know that they have to have balance, because they say in self-help, for example, train for health. As I said, the good life begins with health. I wanted to get my health to 10 out of 10 level. And what happened? When I started training, I overtrained so much that the next day my body was so overworked and I couldn't do anything unless training. And this became an extreme. Because it was an extreme, I couldn't do any other of my chores to make my life better. So, the TAO point is not fixed, it's dynamic. Let's start with simple examples, like sailing. When you go sailing, you have to hold the sail the right way. Not too weak, not too strong, on the soft spot. So, when you hold it the right way and the wind hits you with the right amount, you go on in harmony. You, the sail and the wind in harmony go, and you are in perfect balance point, and you don't even know anything unless the process, because you're concentrated on it. The TAO concentrates you on the process. So, what about going from point A to point B without losing energy? So you want to go hiking. You want to go from point A to point B, but if you don't want to lose energy, you have to be concentrated fully on the process. And when you do this, you learn your mind, your body to be fully focused on doing one thing only and balancing it. This way, when you do all this kind of stuff, you, in relation to someone normal, quote unquote, will, for someone it takes hours to do something, for you it takes only minutes. From someone it takes so much energy, from you takes just a little. So, my question is, how are these extremes in your life affecting you? How are they directing your life? And the extremes are always directing your life in a bad way. As I was saying, the extremes are bad. They are the worst part of your life and you have to fix them. But what do you do? What most people do, they supply them. And supplying them is very, very bad. So, why does supplying the extremes is bad? I told you about the chain smoker, and what do you think about it? How much time did he lose dealing with this extreme that he created? It's basically like he's on a road and in the middle is the TAO way. But he went to the other side, to the extreme, and start to dig hole in the ground, digging with the ears. But when he wanted to change his life, he wanted to go back to the place, but the amount of digging that he did, he had to climb over and get back to the TAO. Do you know how much energy and time did he lose? He could have done so much things in his life, not supplying the extreme, but changing his life, fixing it and making it better. So I say to you now, what are the extremes in your life and how do you supply them? And can you stop the supply? This is my question. We want to make a change. I want to pursue you to get us so much leverage as possible to make that change. So picture yourself in the future still moving into the extremes, not in control in your life, going day by day, the extremes poisoning you and taking the best out of you. I invite you to make an action plan who is going to help you get the control back and ultimately get into the TAO. So you don't psych yourself out. You have to make it in baby steps. You who will take it seriously and apply this to your life surely are the true winners in life, and know that life and long-lasting change comes from consistent action taking and focus. And you're the ones who ultimately set the standards and make your future as bright as possible. So stay strong. Bye.